¿Qué pasa, mi raza? You're now tuned into I Don't Know That's Perfect, the most professional podcast out of Austin, Texas. I am your host. I am Mario from the South Side, and I have another amazing episode for y'all today. It has been a while. I've been kind of back and forth with the timing, but all great things take time, right? Today we have we have somebody who's already been here, who's an amazing, talented, good friend. But then with her, she has another amazing guest that I am honored to have on the show and to be able to have a conversation with. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Moody Banks and Kaelin Ellis. How are you guys doing today?
Hey guys, doing well.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for being here. I know we've been overdue for one, and then thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure.
How are y'all doing?
No complaints.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Solid.
Yeah, I know. I'm grateful that we came out at a time of the day where it's under 100 degrees, because
Barely.
during the day, if I come into the studio during the midday, I'm in here trying to dry off, just covered in sweat, and just it's miserable. It's been. I'm ready for summer to be over, and I've always enjoyed the heat. So
I feel like this has definitely been the hottest summer.
yeah, somebody was trying to tell me the other day, oh, it was this hot when we were young. I was like, no, it was not. Like when we were kids, we were able to just withstand whatever, but now it's like I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to get out of my car. I don't want to do nothing. You know. Even in the water, we went tubing. We're on a boat, and it was still too hot, and I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But for those that have been with us for a while now, you may remember Moody from our season 4 series that we had back at the other studio, and it's been a while since you've been here. It's been a while, like 2 years, and a lot has happened since then.
A lot has happened.
Because you at that time you had what did you drop? You dropped the blunts and
yeah, full blunts and full
yes.
moons.
And then you
that
came.
was my first EP.
Then you came back in what was it? Last year, right? You just dropped the Feeling Colors album,
Yeah,
which was another amazing project.
Feeling Colors. I think almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have you been up to since then?
So right now I am currently also working on a new project.
Yeah.
I have so many songs that I'm just trying to get out. So
Yeah.
right now I'm just working on dropping a song every month.
We're in rollout mode right now.
Rollout mode. Let's go. I just realized that I was waiting for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like as an artist, it's so easy to get in your head and to start believing that you have to have some magical thing in order, that you have to wait for the perfect moment.
Yeah.
But you have to create the moment.
For sure, yeah.
And so that's where I'm at right now.
I feel that. A lot of times it does feel like you just like, okay, the right moment will come. But if you keep waiting on something that technically doesn't exist, like, you know, you're just kind of giving yourself a false hope. But yeah, you got to kind of sometimes say, fuck it, and just do it. And
yeah, so that's kind of what I'm on right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And just real quick, for those that are tuned in, any new listeners or viewers, can you guys give a little quick introduction as to who you are and what it is that y'all do?
Yeah, so my name is Moody Banks. I am a local R&B singer here in Austin. I would say R&B, hip-hop, little jazz, little funk. And I'm your local mood setter.
There you go. Mr. Ellis.
My name is Kaelin Ellis. I would like to describe myself as a sound designer who tells stories through sounds.
I love that. Yeah, because your music is amazing. I will say, like, to be able to, I don't think it's hard to describe the style and the sound that you make, because I first came across your music when I came across The Funk Will Prevail, which is an amazing album, and just the artist that you have on there is kind of like neo jazz and just everywhere, you know, and I love it because it's one of those albums that you can kind of just start at any point and it's going to go into a good direction, and then just the transitions, the production, and the engineering, all of it, it's amazing. So
thank you.
How did you
goat.
yeah for sure. And like
Elder goat.
the people you've already worked with, it already kind of just goes to show, you know, just the type of music you make. How did you get started into the production and just making, because you basically create the sounds from scratch, like, you know, so
Yeah.
how did that come across?
I mean, it kind of started when I was much younger. I grew up playing drums in church. My dad played keys. My grandmother was a minister. She still is. My grandparents actually were pastors.
Okay.
And so they were just all things music. And it's actually funny. My mom asked me, like, did you feel like you were, like, pressured to go to church and stuff? I was like, nah, I just thought it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun because I got a chance to just share what I could do playing drums and my dad's on keys. And I stayed on that for years. And I didn't realize, like, you could actually do that potentially for a living.
Yeah.
And so my dad every Christmas would just ask me, like, so what do you want? I was like, I heard you can record things on a computer. And so I would just
That's
ask
where it
him for
started.
stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times, like, some of the best musicians that ever come out are like musicians that are really invested into their church and like stuff like that. I mean, like, for example, off the top of my head, I can think of Anderson .Paak. He was like a drummer out in church as well, and now he's one of the dopest artists there is out there, you know. So it's really cool to see backgrounds like that and stuff like that, because it's moments like that and that are influential and kind of like really make it genuine as to your love for music, you know. And I understand you guys have also been working quite a amount of music right now. You just had a single that came out. You have two singles that just came out.
Yeah.
You had "Don't Waste My Time," which is
Yes.
my personal favorite. I love that one.
Thank
And then
you.
you just dropped "To Make It Go," which is
Yes.
produced by yourself, right?
Yeah. And
Charles
Charles,
Moon.
yeah.
Okay, nice.
Moon
So,
Man.
how has this relationship musically been going for y'all? How did it begin?
How would you describe it?
No,
Is it how I describe it? So, I'm someone that, like, when I was in college, I started to learn about coming across like-minded people very, very early on. And usually the folks that I have creative conversations pretty late for 3 hours long tend to be the people that I end up building with, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember we weren't even like actively trying to like, hey, let's work on music together. It's just like, I find what you do dope. She finds what I do dope. And we're like, let's see how we can possibly like build something with that. And
Honestly, at first, we didn't even like discuss music.
No.
yeah.
We were kind of just like, whoa, like really good friends. And our conversations were just always so like inspiring.
Yeah.
And then
Just went from there.
kind of,
Yeah.
that's how I would say. It wasn't like when we
Nothing
met.
forced.
Right. The intention wasn't like, oh, we're going to make music together. It was like, whoa, this is a really cool person. And then we just kept having like better and better, deeper and deeper conversations.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I feel like we should like do something together.
And, you know,
Yeah.
that's where the best music relationships usually start off. And it's like, it's not just the intention to make music. It's like we actually vibe. We actually have like a cool friendship and relationship that kind of like just makes it easier. Because a lot of times people just try to force and just make something, and you know it'll
Don't
work,
force
but like
the
it
funk.
won't be
Don't
organic.
force the funk.
There you go. Yeah, don't force the funk. I love that. But that's awesome. So tell me about the two singles that you've had. What has been what was the process like for pick? Because you say you've had all this music and then you've been picking and trying to
Yeah.
decide what to do. How did
Yeah.
you end up with these two first?
So, Don't Waste My Time is really a personal story to me because it's obviously about getting your time wasted. But mostly in a sense of relying on people and things to get situations situated and to get things done.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a self mantra as well, as in, don't waste your own time. You can't rely on anybody but yourself
Yeah. At the end of the day.
at the end of the day. So for me, that song is kind of just like a reminder to don't, waste your own time
Yeah.
and don't let other people waste your time. But oftentimes, I don't think other people, have intention of like wasting our time. I think it's just everybody's so focused on their own life that it's hard not to get caught up in it.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm such a lover girl. I'm such an over giver sometimes. I have to really like set boundaries in my life and contain myself because I have to put myself first.
Yeah.
And that song kind of was like the start of that journey for me of
And it-
like deciding to put myself first.
And it's a great song. I
Right
thought I
on
had to
time.
wake up. I was like, am I dreaming?
That's your phone.
Oh, that's mine. Oh shit. My bad.
I was like, yo, I like use the same alarm. So I was like, wait a
I'm
minute.
over here watching you padding. I'm like, it's me the whole time. My bad.
These headphones had us all messed up for a second. I'm like, wait.
I can that was my bad. Yo. Oh shit. I'm over here just like, damn, it's cool, bro.
Let me die over here.
Sorry, huh?
You're good.
Oh man. But yeah, as you were saying, don't waste my time. And I
Yeah,
just
that was
literally
the
did
confirmation. It was like, yes, set boundaries. Don't waste your time. Show up for yourself. And
It's a great song. Like
Thank you.
as soon as you showed it to me, because thankfully you've been kind of like letting me listen to some of these songs before they drop, and that obviously whenever I saw you perform it, I was geeked over that one because it's a great song all around, and I love the way it was. It's catchy and it's greatly produced as well. You know, and then who do you have as a feature on the song as well?
Tony 22.
Yeah, he does an amazing job on that song too.
He's a really cool artist. I love him so.
And then you fast forward to Make It Go. How did
Make
that
It
song
Go.
come about?
Yeah, so really I kind of had made that joint with Charles, but it was just a demo, and I had sent it to Kaelin, and I was just like, what do you think about this song? And he kind of was just like, I dig it. And then he did his Kaelin things.
Yeah.
He added crazy breakdown, added some piano. And I guess what we really were trying to do, because when I first had it, it was just a loop.
Yeah.
What I was really trying to do is like capture the essence of like 90s R&B.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaelin is obviously amazing at capturing essences.
So have you guys? Because I know you produced yourself as well, right?
Tiny bit.
Don't be tiny, big.
Yeah,
No, you produce too.
I know you get that. Have y'all been ever have like moments where y'all kind of like are messing around producing together and coming up with some cool stuff?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's mutually. She'll have an idea,
Yeah.
or I'll have an idea, and she's like,
Yeah.
I like that, or we'll just kind of go off of that. I'm pretty much when it comes to creating and collaborating, I try to like listen as much as I possibly can without giving much input, because usually the nuggets, the gold nuggets, are usually hidden within like the silence.
Yeah. You just gotta hear for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll like send me something and I'll be like, oh, I love that. Or I'll send him something and he'll be like, oh, we should focus on that.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
And so, as I was saying, this song is, you guys have more songs that are going to come out. And as far as this project, is this like going to be like a collab project that you're thinking about? Because you say you're working on one. What are you looking forward to in regards to this project?
What I'm looking forward to the most is sharing my story with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a common misconception that I have about myself is that people are always like, you're so mysterious. Like, I don't really, I realize that I don't let people into my world very often, but it's really just because I am in my own world. Like, it's not
You keep to
intentional.
yourself.
I just keep to myself, and I can be very shy. I can be very quiet and keep to myself. When I'm doing my thing, obviously I'm like doing my thing, but as me as a person, I'm very like kind of guarded. I'm on guard often. I could say that about myself. So for this project, I just really want to open up and let people in and to see who I really am, and like
To the world of Moody.
the world of Moody. And just intention.
Yeah.
Moving with intention. I want to be very intentional about the things I say,
For sure.
what I speak into the world, and the messaging that I deliver.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you're going to be doing a lot of the production for the project.
Yeah, I'd like to say so. I mean, I'm one of those people where like
He is.
I'm one of those people where like, because it's actually interesting. A good buddy of mine that our creative connection reminds me of is a friend of mine named Paul. He goes by the name Cowboy Killer, but I met him back in college, and I remember when I met him, similar thing happened. We stayed up super late, had a conversation. I just played a bunch of beats for him, and I wanted to know like what was his end goal. What did he want to do? And he wanted to craft a world with the words he had. And the one thing I learned about music, especially growing up in church, is that music can enhance that. It can enhance. It can put people in a space and push that story. And so I remember hearing Make It Go and then all the other concepts that we're sitting on right now. I'm like, man, we could really push a crazy story with this. So, yeah, I really, really believe in it.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes me even more excited than to kind of hear what you guys come up with. So,
Yeah.
so how's that process been as you guys? Because it seems obviously y'all are on the same page as to where y'all want the direction of the project
Yeah.
go. How has that creative process been?
I'm gonna go first. So for me personally, it's been extremely inspiring because I think this is the first time that I've worked with somebody that really just wanted to know about me and to hear about me and to know what I wanted to do. A lot of times in music, it's easy as a woman for people to be like, "Oh, you should do this," or we should
Tell her
try
what to do.
this. And it's like that's cool, but I feel like Kaelin has been the first person that was like, "No, like I see you as an artist and like I want to know what you want to do or like I want to know what we can do and not necessarily like, okay, this is what we're about to do." You know?
Yeah.
So for me, that's been like really inspiring, and it's also been very much of a boost of my confidence because I feel like for me personally, you know, I'm not necessarily like a cookie cutter artist. I'm not someone who has such a commercial sound or like
Not generic or anything like that.
right. So I feel like a lot of times people don't know what to do with me. They don't know where to put me.
They can't box you in.
Right. But I think for the majority of my time as an artist, that hasn't been a good thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I feel like I'm really just starting to accept like who I am and what I sound like and what I have to offer the world. And like when people who genuinely like see you and know you and see that you bring value, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I love to hear that's the type of relationship that you guys have been building on because it makes things easier and it just elevates the situation
Yeah.
altogether. You
I
know?
mean, cause like if we're just having an honest like conversation, like I'm an artist, I'm sensitive. I think all artists can say that. You know what I mean? And I've been in rooms where I've been working with people and I'm like, damn, I don't know like if they like I don't know what they're thinking right now or like
Yeah.
I don't know
It's hard to
if
read
this
them.
is good. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, I don't know. It just feels good to like be able to just be.
yourself. Yeah, of course, 100% yourself, Kaylin.
I'm so sorry. You got to.
What's the creative process been like for you on working with Moody in this project that you guys have?
Well, I definitely, one of the things that I try to pride myself on is just communicating. And I think intention is everything. And if you can communicate that intention, then the goal becomes a little bit more achievable. And so we dialogue a lot. We dialogue a lot. We have a lot of conversations about the ideas, the concepts. What do I want this to feel like? Like, you know, 90s R&B. A lot of what I, in my history, has been is going back and dipping into a history of a sound and then pulling it back out in a fresh way. And so I think what we've been able to learn about our own styles and blending them together, they like complement each other so well. And so I'm really excited about like the stuff we're learning within collaborating together.
Okay, so it's an overall progressive situation. It seems like because
Yeah.
you know you're inspired, you're learning as you go. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how this project turns out. Because yeah, I mean I've always been a fan of your music, and I love your music as well. So it's gonna see these two worlds collide. I feel, but at the end of the day, it also feels like it
Moody
was
funk.
meant to be.
Moody Funk.
Yeah. Can I ask, have y'all had any sort of inspiration outside of y'all's own personal music, like other stuff that y'all kind of like tuned into or just trying to check out to get an idea across of what y'all are trying to reach?
I think for both of us, I would say, but I'm going to speak for myself. Like, we have very similar belief system. We have very similar interests, like in the art, that we enjoy, like our share of like love for like God and like what we're trying to represent. So I think that's something that really connects us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and then like also too, like I'm someone that like learned a lot about energy and how energy and like mutual energy, same energy, keeping the same energy around you. When it comes to a music sense, we actually were like dipping back, especially with Make It Go, to like groove theory.
Yeah.
Groove theory, Tell Me, even for this next record, what we're
so
working on.
excited.
It's we're and that's actually hilarious because I had to do some studying myself. The song that we're working on right now,
Yeah,
it's called "I'm Good."
I'm good.
Okay.
And it also features another
Avara.
really dope artist, Avara.
Oh, wow.
And so listening back to what we have right now, we're kind of like sitting on like just a good like meat and potatoes of everything that like is cool. It's just got to dial it in. But like one influence that I thought would be really, really cool to like implement to how we make it is TLC Waterfalls.
Oh.
And I didn't know that the same people who made that song also produced for Outkast, Organized Noise.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah,
so
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Wow.
And so I was like, something about this song reminds me of Waterfalls. So when I go into like, the mixing process and we
Yeah.
have those conversations, I want to try and use that as an influence. So it's just been like that. Like,
Yeah.
And then I'll bring it to her like, what do you think about this? She's like, yo, that's actually kind of fire. We were watching the music video today.
Literally, we were like conceptualizing videos and visual ideas, and there's nothing new under the sun.
No.
That's the word.
Yeah, I agree. Especially in a time where like nowadays, I feel like, for example, like hip hop has like fallen in that sort of like box where everything keeps getting reprised, sample, or just redone. It's like it kind of gets repetitive, but
Yeah.
once you find a new way to kind of interlope something, that's whenever you start thinking
Yeah.
out of that box. So it's very interesting to hear that. Yeah.
I think that's why Kaelin is like so amazing too, because he just does everything,
Yeah.
and it's.
Something like that.
It's exciting to see. Like just
I don't know
the
if you
stuff
guys
that-
are familiar with his Twitch stream.
I've seen the TikTok videos, but not on Twitch.
But he will literally like make a beat out of nothing in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He'll be like, okay, I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes. Let's play on the piano, and then it's like some freaking Beethoven orchestra, and I'm like,
Man.
what the hell?
That is cool. Yeah, that is very. I would love to watch you work because it feels like it's gonna be a very impressive situation to be in. So, when did you, I guess, kind of figure out that you had a talent for just creating music in all senses?
I mean, okay, so I had a couple points. There's a couple moments where like, okay, this would be kind of cool. There was one time when I was in high school, I remixed a record back in 2013. Miley Cyrus had just came out with Wrecking Ball, and I was really big on like I'm not a pop music guy at that time. I was like, I'm not a pop music guy. I don't like rap. So I was like, if I could turn this pop song into whatever I wanted it to be, what would it be? And so I just took it. I also like was going through a lot of like growing up at the time, and I remixed the song, and maybe within 24 hours to 48 hours on SoundCloud, it started gaining like a lot of traction.
Oh wow!
And one of my good friends is K Tronada. He reposted that thing on SoundCloud, and then it just started to spread. And so that track alone ended up at like a 250,000 streams on just SoundCloud alone.
Wow.
Imagine you're 13.
I know. And is that true that you and Katrina knew each other at that age?
We go back to like 2010.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And so it was funny, but like that was like one moment, but I didn't really think like,
Yeah.
making a beat, that's cool. But then like there was a lady in 2014. Her name is Erin Berra. She was at the time a Berkeley School of Music teacher.
Okay.
And she had just dropped her own project called Dear John. It was an EP of like 4 songs. And what happened was she was like, hey, I just heard this remix you did of Miley Cyrus. She messaged me on Facebook Messenger at the time. She messaged me and was like, hey, could you remix my song Dear John the same way? And so I had to break down
wow.
like, what did I do for all of this? So it took me about like 3 months until I like cracked it, I was like, okay, so I did this, and I just completely experimented with everything.
Yeah.
And I have the way my brain works is if I can do one thing to one component of like a sound or a loop, then I'm probably gonna keep going and make more stuff out of it. And so by the end of it, she like heard the remix, she liked it, and then she sent me a thing in the mail that was like $500 as a check. And this is before streaming platforms. It was like right before like they started like streaming. And so she sent me a $500 check with a note, and she said, "This was killer. I can't wait to see what you're doing in the next 10 years."
Oh wow. Have you kept in touch with her?
She brought me out to the University of Phoenix at the beginning of this year.
Oh shit.
And so I got a chance to talk to her and the students that she teaches at the University of Phoenix about like, yo, that note gave me the confidence I needed to actually do this.
Man, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Oh jeez. Yeah. So I mean that just kind of goes to show never be scared to put your stuff out, because like so basically you're saying you created that Miley Cyrus remix on a whim.
yeah, it was,
And then you had to go back and just like, crap, how did I do this?
yeah, because I come from like a Jay Dilla, and then Flying Lotus kind of, but like at the time nobody's like making crazy switch ups like that unless it's like trap beats. And so I was like, I don't want to make a trap beat. I want to do like just my own hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
And she resonated with it so much that she was like, hey, I'm gonna send these $500 to someone who is 16 to remix the song on SoundCloud.
Damn.
And I really didn't have like a big following or anything. I didn't even really know what I did. I enjoyed it. And then after that, it cracked the code of what I wanted to do.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And yeah, it seems like just nonstop you've been heavy hitting since then, because I mean all the stuff that you've been working on and dropping and the people you've been working with has been amazing. Do you have a personal favorite project that you've personally like admire that is maybe your baby? I know it's still probably early on, but
There's one album that I did right before, it was 2018,
okay.
and it was called It All Ends. It All Ends is a pretty like low point in my life, because I started to realize like a lot of the things that I had grown accustomed to in my life were about to end. It was like, all right, I moved out of my parents' home, went to college, but the way they did it, it was like I'm on my own now. Like I can't really ask my parents for anything. Like it was like everything you learn now, you're now in this room.
Free, go.
do it. And so I started relearning like the world in a way. And so like as everything is ending, there was a whole new beginning to it. And so as well, like I learned jazz, like Robert Glasper.
Yeah.
I listened to Robert Glasper like every day with my buddies in college.
Oh, wow.
And we used to just jam out and see like, yo, what would work? Like, can we do this? And can we just like do this? And I also grew up in church. So I'm like, let's just make this whole thing like musicians going crazy for 45 minutes.
That's
and
awesome.
so it's the most like, I'm not gonna say it's the most darkest album I have, but it's also like one of those things where like I put a lot of energy into that thing for like 6 years.
Like a transitional phase for you.
And it was a huge transitional phase. And so that project is what gave me the confidence to do what I'm doing with the beat videos and the shorter end projects. So yeah, that's like it.
Damn, that's awesome. And going back to you, Moody, I guess my question or something that I was wondering about or curious, because obviously as we're talking about like points in our life, what influences the albums and projects you have, like, so the album that you have coming out, it's kind of you are kind of opening up to the world and giving them like a peek into your world. What was the equivalent to the Feeling Colors album that kind of influenced that whole project? Because I mean, it was a great project as well, and I liked the concept and everything that you did with that one.
So Feeling Colors was a blend between what I was going through at that time in life, and I don't know if you guys may know this about me, but I am a artist as well. I paint and I draw. And so all the graphics I make, all the merch, everything, I make that myself. So Feeling Colors was something that I wanted to play on senses, synesthesia to be the exact word. Some people in the world can feel senses. So let's say if you're hearing music, you can say, oh, this sounds like the color blue.
Oh, okay, I've heard that, yeah.
Or if you're watching TV and you see somebody bite a piece of ice, it makes you cold.
Yeah.
That's synesthesia. So I experience a lot of that.
Oh, wow.
in life. So I thought it'd be really cool to create a songs that represent colors.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say like which song is which color. I kind of just like want people to tell
Get a
me
feel
what they
for it.
feel. Yeah, so for that project specifically, each song represents a different color.
Oh wow, was that it seems like it was a fun project to work on.
It was really fun because obviously within that, each song is extremely different.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm moody. I don't ever feel like a singular expression of myself. And I feel like that project really grasp the idea of like who I am as a person, because I'm not one specific thing. Like each song, even though they're so different, they're cohesive in a way.
Yeah.
Just because I'm kind of a chaotic person in that sense of just like not ever choosing one thing.
I get it. I mean, aren't we all? And then it
Yeah.
makes complete sense because it's like being completely versatile on a project, but still keeping it like contained within the same
Right.
sort of area
Right.
that you're
So
going in.
I wanted every song to feel like a different color.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was a great project, and like I said, it's been a while since I've had you on the show, so it
Yeah.
was something that I was curious about and wanted to ask about. So
Yeah,
thank
and I
you.
feel like it was so just funny because I'm a very deep thinker, and I was like, "What? How can I portray this in like such a artistic way?" And it's just like, "Oh, feeling colors."
There you go.
Ha ha.
I love that. Have you had any other stuff that you've been working on as far as like merch wise and obviously the art and whatnot?
Yes, I've been working on some really crazy designs.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to put them out. I feel like these ones are a lot more personal. I don't know. I feel like as an artist, the thing about artistry is that I think we are confused right now in the world. An artist's job is not to influence. An artist's job is to inspire. And I don't want to influence anybody anymore. I want to inspire people. And having that realization is that we are beings that were created to create.
Yeah.
Our whole lives, we are persuaded to consume. So we're literally doing the opposite of what we were created to do.
Yeah.
And I really want to be someone that encourages people to, step out and break through. And I am not here to influence anybody. I'm not here to tell anybody what they should look like, what they should do, what they should wear. I just want to inspire people, and I'm super excited to just bring that to my art.
Yeah.
And I just want to be an inspiration to people who need something to look forward to.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited because I've always been a fan of like the merch that you put out and the style and just how you get down because it's
Yeah.
creative and it's kind of all around. So it's very you to
Thank
say
you.
the least.
Yay.
So
I love that.
definitely next time you have some merch coming out, I'll be copying.
Yes,
So.
I'm gonna give you some tonight before we leave because
Hell
I
yeah.
got some in my car.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Back to you, Kaelin. Would you say? You say you're a fan of Jay Dilla and whatnot. What would you say are your current, I guess, well, I don't know what you would call it, but your peers, your favorite producers that are out right now? Because
Man.
you remind me a lot of Monty Booker. Monty Booker is somebody else who just the sounds that he creates. It's like, damn, like I never knew that I needed to hear this, but I heard it and you whipped it up, And like I feel like you feel very close into that area and like the whole when they had the whole soul section and all that stuff. I feel like there's a new wave of producers that kind of came out where it's like you were talking about like, or you guys were talking about how like you can't, like just we do the same thing over and over. So you guys started creating new sounds and styles, and it's very very interesting. And you have now the likes of y'all, Sango, and just Daku, and just so many other people that have come out, and it's been very exciting to see in music. But it's still like, it's not like mainstream, but it's like if you know type of situation.
If you know, you know.
Exactly. So, what are some of your favorite producers out there that you've either worked with or not worked with?
So yeah, Monty, GOAT. I've loved Sam Gelatry as well. Another crazy GOAT. A couple of my personal favorites right now. I was just talking to Moody about one of them. Her name is Kaz.
Okay.
Kas from I think Toronto, Canada. I might be wrong, but I know she's from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But she'll drop like a screen recording of just whatever she's making. And it reminds me of how creative that SoundCloud era was in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
And so she's just been crushing it, uploading mad videos of just her just kind of vibing out. And it's cool because it's just fun. You can tell she's having fun. It's her, another one of my good close friends, The Count, is another one of my favorite collaborators, one of my favorite producers. It's just because the way he thinks about music is so unorthodox. He's just like, you know what? I'm going to take that and turn that into a kick drum. I'm like, how do you think of doing that? And it sounds insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two by far. And then there's one more guy. His name is Ogosh Leotis out of I think Inglewood.
Okay.
So very, very talented individuals. All these folks, some of the greatest like top quality production that you'll probably hear.
Yeah. And it's been, like I said, it's been very interesting to see like everything that comes out, because like nowadays you have so many different styles and sounds and just sort of artists that are kind of were influenced by the early generation that we kind of grew up on, and to see that being kind of trickle down into the influences and the likes of you that are making music, and it's exciting. It's a good time for music, and people try to hold the mainstream as this is not in a good place. But, music's always going to be there, and it's always going to be coming out of every direction. You just got to know how to look for it,
Do you want to know something funny that we were talking about, actually, which is also one of the inspirations for Make It Go, was that we were like, what are this generation's oldies going to be?
Man.
Yeah.
We were like, we need to make some oldies for the kids, man.
I mean, what categorizes as an oldie other than being how old? Like 30, 40 years old?
I think a timeless song.
A timeless song. What's a timeless song right now that like within the last 10 years?
I'm going to just off rip say anything by Anderson .Paak.
Yeah?
There's the Silk Sonic record he did with Bruno Mars.
Oh, yeah. That's timeless.
That's timeless. Yeah. Leave the door open.
Yeah. A lot of his older stuff too, because Anderson .Paak is also somebody who like has been making music for the longest, and like if you go far back and listen to his music, like he's working with everybody at some point, and then eventually he caught onto the success.
I feel like for me too, like a timeless song is something you could play in front of your grandma and she won't get mad.
Yeah.
Would y'all play Jasmine Sullivan?
I would.
Grandma?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause she has some freaky
Jasmine
songs,
Sullivan.
but I love her music.
Her,
Yeah, man.
What's it with Daniel
Caesar.
Caesar?
Yeah.
Best part.
That
Classic.
whole album, the Fruity.
See, we got the playlist going. We just need to add some more songs.
Yeah,
more songs.
Let's touch base in about 50 years and see what we were. What were we write about it? What made it to cut and whatnot? Man.
I don't want to go to your cookout if I'm 50 and I have to hear Future. I'm gonna stay home.
They're probably trying to be playing some Drake on there or something.
Turn the bass down.
No, I've always wondered that too, because like you think about like back then in the 50s and the 40s or whenever, the whatever music was like super popular was also the music that kind of was frowned upon. But there's type of frowned upon music is like the super soft compared to what is out today. Today's outlandish.
I'm gonna say bring begging back.
Right?
Begging
Bring it back.
R&B, yeah.
That's what Anderson .Paak said. We don't beg no more. Here I am begging for you.
Bring it back, man.
Yeah, early 2000s R&B. That's all it was. Just begging for your woman back.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I'm starting to draw the connection as we're talking about it, because you mentioned the 50s and then the early 2000s. What's cool about the 50s? And in the 50s, when music was becoming like, okay, record a hit song, music was about recording a hit song. Like, record a great moment. And give me, like, the best representation of that moment. Fast forward to 50 years later, technology, right? Not everybody in the early 2000s had the fanciest gear. Not everybody had the computers. But if you had a little beat machine, you had a recorder, and you had somebody in your family that could sing really, really well, all you needed to do was get a good recording.
Yeah.
And so that's what made the 2000s dope. You just had greatly written songs, and they were recorded.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing that comparison. with the 50s and the 2000s. It's great recording, great writing.
History repeats itself, you know. So it's bound to happen, you know. And then you also think about like those songs that were like sleepers back then, but didn't make a hit till like way later.
Way later.
Yeah. So I'm like wondering like what songs are we sleeping on right now? They're gonna come back later and be like, oh, this is the most amazing song that ever, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Facts.
So it's
True.
They did that to Kate Upton too.
Oh, did they?
From Running Up That Hill, from what's the Stranger Things, the TV show. Her song
yeah,
on
that's
the
right. What's that song called?
Run up the hill.
Oh,
Yeah. Because that song came out in like 1984. And of course, she was like a star at that time in her own right. But fast forward to like almost 30-something years later, and the song pops again on a TV show.
yeah.
So it's like she just got reintroduced to a whole new audience that weren't even alive.
Yeah, and
So-
then it's funny because like you're introducing all this I guess Gen Z or you know the new generations being born to new music. You know, like
Yeah.
I remember a few years back, my daughter she was like. She was probably like 8 or 9, and she was over here like learning Usher songs and just like the My Boo and all that stuff. I'm like, you're picking this stuff up at your mom's. I'm like, it's also like one of those like bittersweet moments. Like, damn, like she's learning this stuff that's from back then, and she's over here trying to sing it. And I was like, damn. So it's cool to see music come back around in so many different ways because you know
Timeless.
it's the beauty of music. It's never gonna go away. It's just gonna keep, you know. It's just like whenever they ask you, like, what would you rather be, blind or deaf? I was like, I think blind would be the least, you know? Or yeah, because I can't imagine.
Life without music.
Yeah, but even then, like, deaf people, like, they party with bass. That's how they get to going, like, on parties and like, concerts. Like, they just vibe to the bass, like, because they feel it.
Ooh, Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's a...
Synesthesia.
There you go. You know, I wonder if they see colors because they can't hear, you know?
I see purple right now, man. Whoa.
What are we listening to?
Yo, okay, actually, this is super interesting because when I was making that project, I did a lot of research on synesthesia, and there was a course where they were teaching people perfect pitch through color, and they were teaching people how to find keys through color.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because like interesting. And it's funny you mention that music frequencies.
Yeah,
Frequencies,
yeah. Just
color.
depending damn, yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
color
I
spectrum.
had to go look some of the stuff
That's
up
kinda
tonight.
cool.
'Cause
Yeah,
that was very,
it was little kids that they were teaching it. They were teaching it through color of how to get perfect pitch through color.
you know, and it's when we were in school for recording, they used to give us tests on how to like obviously they wouldn't show us what frequency, but they play a frequency, and we had to like memorize which one was like 1K, 10K, 500,
Yeah.
and that makes so much
Makes
sense because you
sense.
start picking it up and just matching. And it's like, damn, the mind is amazing. The brain is an
Yeah.
amazing organ.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I appreciate y'all so much for being here. It's definitely been an amazing conversation and an episode. So I appreciate y'all. Do you happen to have a name for the project yet? Can you say?
I do have a name, but I don't think we're there yet.
That's fine. An idea for the timeline, or is it still like in the works?
It's in the works, but soon.
Yeah.
But you'll be sure to get a new single every month until then.
There we go. And for those that are looking forward to tuning in, can you guys give out your socials and where they can find you? That way they can keep up.
Yes, you can find me at Moody Banks on Instagram and on Spotify. Moody Banks. Instagram is going to be M00DYBANKS. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube is going to be MOODYBANK $. Make sure y'all tap in. TikTok too.
And KAELINELLIS on pretty much every social platform: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. Live on Twitch
Follow him on Twitch.
on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And
Do you get on Twitch and just kind of just like create or
yeah, I actually, so this is what I did. I was like, over the last couple of years, I've been trying to like establish like just the community of people that I work with. And I realize a lot of the people I work with are just people that I'm cool with. Like a lot of friends, a lot of homies. So I'm like, I want to build a community of people that do that. So at the beginning of 2020, I had a friend of mine suggest, why don't you create like a private Discord for everybody who cops like a sample pack of yours? And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, and then collaborate with those same people on your Twitch. And I was like, aha. And so since 2020, I've been just like building a Discord community. We collaborate and make beats with each other all the time. And literally this upcoming week, I have a Discorder. His name is Terra Beats. Super talented keyboardist from Dallas, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to be playing his beats live on my Twitch stream while I'm out here.
Nice. I'll definitely have to tap into one of the Twitch streams, so I'm excited. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned TikTok. I wanted to ask you guys, and I almost forgot, but nowadays it seems like TikTok is like the new lane that we kind of like as creatives and artists kind of have to adapt to and use to help or gain an audience. I know both of you guys are constantly on TikTok. You are always are either having conversations or putting your stuff out, and you yourself are always having putting out your beats to have like people respond back to them. How has that been for y'all? Have y'all noticed like the shift in the audience and feedback?
Yeah, so for me personally, I first started on TikTok of just like doing normal TikTok things, putting my music and like having random people listening to it. And there's just so many people doing that it honestly wasn't gaining that much traction.
Feels saturated.
Very saturated. So then I was like really like, I was actually talking to him about it. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Like, this is so hard to, like, make people want to, like, pay attention to you. So I randomly was on TikTok one day, and I had a very vivid dream the night before. I'm a very big dreamer, like, physically and literally. And for some weird reason in this dream, what this girl was talking about, I had a very similar dream. So I just commented and I was like, wow, I had a very similar dream to this. And people were like, can you make a video about it? Make a video about it. And then I was like, okay. So then I made a video about it. And that was basically like my first like viral video.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shoot, like what the heck? And then they like within that one video, they kept saying like, oh, can you make a video about this? And then I was like, dang, okay. So then I made a video about that. Now that one's like going viral too. And then I was like, damn, like I realized that I have a way of just communicating and like talking to people. So now like on my TikTok videos, I really just talk like you were saying. And just like for me, it's more about helping people. And I just talk about like my faith and like things that helped me in my life and things that I discovered and ways that I live my life and how, those things have come about. And now just being able to share that information and the fact that it's being received is just like a positive, because like just the fact of me sharing it, I feel like I'm doing something helpful and good for people. And so, yeah, if you see me on TikTok being motivational, that's what you're going to see.
Follow.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Yourself, Mr. Ellis?
Me? So I had to think a little bit about my answer before I answered. But one thing I'm learning about today's climate, especially when it comes to TikTok and social media and stuff, is that our human condition of what we're into instant. Yeah. Everything is instant.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. And so, like, the best platform for instant stuff is TikTok. And it's funny because I remember telling you about this, but there was an old news report, 1980. You can look this up. NBC. They did a whole presentation about how the music business was about to change. And the introduction was MTV. MTV was the first platform that people who had music videos for records, they could instantly go to that channel and watch their favorites for 24 hours, play their favorite music videos. Mm-hmm. And then that talked about artists getting into dropping music videos. So every artist, Kate Upton, Michael Jackson, they wouldn't even put his music on MTV because of things. And so it was like really interesting to see that, like, for the first time in human history, people have been given an instant look
Yeah.
at their favorite artist. For 3 minutes, you could watch your favorite music video. So the internet comes around.
Kicked it off.
TV, why would you need to go to MTV? We can go to the internet and just watch your
YouTube it.
And so now what we all now represent are our own channels. And we can instantly upload as much as we want to whoever audience and following that we want.
Sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
Crazy, right?
Man.
It really
Find your target audience.
find your target audience, but there's a community, there's a following for everybody because everybody's
Yeah.
following something.
For sure. You just got to find your people, your crowd, your whatever catches people's attention. So
Yeah.
that is very interesting. I have to look that up.
Yeah.
That's been, but you yourself, you also communicate with a lot of people. You interact with them because they respond. They duet your videos. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
And how has that been? Do you get like? I would imagine you get an insane amount of submissions. Do you have something that you're like, nah, this ain't it?
Nah, it's you know what I think it is, and this is actually something fascinating that you bring up because I've never actually like vocalized it. But anytime people like do a duet or a duel with a video of mine that I made with like a song, I'm like, you thought of that from this one beat, and then there's like 100 more that also have a different like thing, and it makes me think like, man, there's many ideas of what you could think with the same
like you're beating a million versions of it.
million versions of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it I like listen to everybody. I and no matter what kind of quality, if it's a good idea or a bad idea, it's the fact that someone took their time out and to like, I have energy that I just received from you. Now I want to share it back.
That's awesome.
And then I'm seeing that as like, man, I'm inspired now. I can either engage and have a conversation with them or follow them, like it, comment, and just kind of like keep it moving like that. But it's cool that like people receive energy by also reacting.
Yeah.
And it's really dope.
And it's like you were saying earlier, like the what we're here for as artists is to inspire, and that's the prime example of what you're doing. Because like, you have somebody who like probably have never done music in their life, or just probably gonna give you something that would not be as popular, but you inspire them to put it out there and put it out into the world, and it's like that speaks volumes. That's a lot. So that's amazing. That's really cool.
I think the cool thing about his like Twitch stream too. Sorry, I just interrupted, but there's like so many dope, talented people in the world that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people in his stream, they're just like also good, and it's like, damn, like.
And kind of to go off, piggyback off of that and coming back to you, because it was really, really interesting about seeing people duel. Someone mentioned this to me, I think in May of this year. I went on a trip to Italy, and someone mentioned this thing about like people's creative abilities. And I used to think like one person could like have like a lot of talent, a lot of like ability and stuff. But I remember a friend of mine, while we were in Italy, he goes, oh, genius doesn't just sit with one person. Genius is an energy, and anybody can get it.
Yeah.
So us having this conversation right now, you could go home and then be like, boom, crazy idea.
Yeah.
And you come back and be like, yo, man. Da, 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 da. And then everybody's like, yo, what happened? Dude, this is crazy.
Off of an interaction.
Off of just, and a genius can belong to anybody.
And it's cool even now because we have the internet at our disposal, so it's like not even just within our own city, our own state, but it's like anywhere in the world. Even just language is only one barrier, but music is, it's transpired to all languages. It doesn't matter who's speaking it or who's playing it, but that's the beauty of music. So it finds a way to communicate with everybody and brings everybody together.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you so much, guys. As I did mention before, I do want to end off on a positive note. Would you guys like to kick it off, or do you guys want me to wing it and kick it off? We? Okay. I always freestyle it, so let me see what I can come up with today. I'm usually pretty good at coming up on the spot, but I'm blanking out right now. Let me think. I guess my positive note would have to be, I'm always here talking about self-care and mental health and all that stuff, but I guess my positive note would be to learn when you have to kind of stop at going full speed and let the world keep going, but sometimes you got to stop and take a look at yourself and really just kind of figure out what it is unique. Sometimes you go in 100% or 100 miles per hour and you don't realize that, yeah, you're trying to go as fast as you can, but at the same time, you're not going in a healthy pace. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not doing what you need to do, at least for myself, from my experience. So sometimes that means stopping and kind of like letting everything else keep going with, even if that means like taking a break from whoever it, or just stop communicating, not entirely, but like just, go hide out for a bit and just kind of go back and let your recharge, your energy recharge, and I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. So and it feels good because, like, when you're going 100 miles per hour, you're exhausted, you're burning out, you're going on fumes, and then you stop. And like I was mentioning earlier, like I had my first evening off and I was passed out, crashed out, so it feels good. So I guess I say all that to say, don't forget to know that don't go chasing waterfalls. Is that what you say? Yeah, I guess that's a good way to say it.
You went on some crazy? I was thinking that. That is wild.
Yeah, I guess that's my positive note. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Hey, that's a good tie-in. Thank you, Troy.
Bringing it all the way back.
Yeah, full circle moment. Thank you for that. I was trying to figure out how I was going to finish that. It was like,
funny.
perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that's my positive note.
Amazing.
I think to piggyback off of that, embracing your pace.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace your space and then embrace your pace. Because where you're at right now, especially if you have goals, if you have dreams and aspirations of getting to a supposed end goal, everybody's like, I'm shooting for this. Embrace that place you're in, because once you're not there, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
And I think this year has been the first time, I think in like 2 years, that I was able to like just sit and think about like all the work that I've been doing. And I'm like, man, I've done a lot of work for myself. I can now embrace the space that I'm in, and I can go back and reflect on like where I used to be. I used to be like, man, I'm killing it with these 2-3 sounds, and now I'm like, man, I want to go back to using 2-3 sounds,
Yeah.
So it's important to embrace where you're at, because you won't be there always.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Well, I'm just going to keep it on brand.
There you go.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Embrace the space. Surrender to the unknown. I think our most pivotal moments in life is when we take a leap of faith. And when you don't know what's happening, that's when you allow miracles to happen. And for someone like myself who is an extreme overthinker, every decision is the right decision. Every choice is the right choice. The path is the path. And no matter what happens, you're going to get there.
I love it.
If you don't give up.
Hey, everything happens for a reason, right?
Amen.
Bingo.
Alrighty, guys. I appreciate y'all so much. It's been an amazing episode. Hopefully, one of these days we can go running back. Whenever you're back in town, we'll sit back down and have a great conversation, because it was a fun episode.
This is good.
I appreciate y'all. So, yes, I am Mario from the South Side. This is I Don't Know. That's perfect, and I'm here with
Moody Banks.
Kaelin Ellis.
and we are out.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.